All right, today we're pulling back the curtain and going inside the machine. We're talking about a high-performance workflow called the Content Lifecycle Engine, and we're going to see exactly how it builds what we call automated authority. So let's just dive right in.
So, picture this, a keyword sitting on a search results page and suddenly it starts to glow. You see it rising steadily toward the top. Now, this isn't just some cool animation. This is the system initializing. It's the engine deploying with one single, clear target. And this is exactly where the whole process kicks off.
You know, any powerful machine is built from a really clear blueprint. And for this engine, that blueprint is what we call the technical stack. So let's break down the core components. You can think of them as the cast of characters that make all of this possible.
First up, we've got the Scout. Think of the Scout as the system's eyes. It's using Google Search Console and Looker Studio to constantly scan the entire digital landscape. And what's its mission? It's looking for what we call striking distance keywords. You know, those terms that are already ranking somewhere between position 11 and 20, they've got high search intent and are just primed to hit page 1.
Okay, so once the Scout finds a target, the intelligence takes over. Now this is the brain of the whole operation. And it's not just about, stuffing keywords into a page. This Gemini-powered engine does a really deep analysis to figure out what users actually want, and maybe even more importantly, to find the gaps where the top competitors are falling short. So, with the strategy locked in, the orchestrator gets to work. Think of this part as the master craftsman. It's a scenario built in Make.com that takes that strategic brief and uses a really smart recursive drafting process. It's writing, reviewing, and refining to generate a perfectly structured 1,500-word SEO article, and it does it in the exact brand voice that's needed. Of course, a finished article needs a home, right? That's the destination. It's a direct, seamless integration with the client's own content management system, in this case, WordPress with Divi. The fully formatted article is just pushed directly to the site ready to go as either a draft for a quick review or straight to published.
Now, publishing is one thing, but being seen by Google is, well, it's everything. And this is where the indexer comes in, and honestly, it is a total game changer. It uses Google's own indexing API to send an instant crawl request. What that means is the new content gets recognized by search engines almost immediately.
And there you have it, the Scout, the intelligence, the orchestrator, the destination, and the indexer. 5 totally distinct tools, all working together as one cohesive, high-performance unit.
So, we've met all the components. Now, let's actually see this assembly line in action. We're going to follow a single piece of content as it moves through its entire automated lifecycle.
Just try to picture data flowing through this system like glowing ribbons, moving with incredible speed. It all starts with discovery, where the Scout finds that perfect opportunity. That immediately triggers semantic triage, where the intelligence analyzes everything and lays out the strategy. That plan then feeds the expert build by the orchestrator, which leads to instant deployment and then acceleration from the indexer. And finally, it all comes full circle, back to the growth loop, where the system reports on its own success.
Now, that whole process sounds pretty impressive, I know, but what's the actual advantage here? I mean, how much faster and more effective is this automated engine, really? Let's run a little performance test.
So let's put it to the test. What does this high-velocity workflow actually look like when you stack it up against the old-school, traditional, manual way of creating and trying to rank content?
Well, the difference is pretty stark. On the left, you've got the manual process. It's slow, it's expensive, and frankly, your progress can feel really stagnant. But on the right, you see the AI-driven engine. It's dynamic, it's constantly learning and improving, and it operates at a velocity that is it's simply impossible for a human team to match. And let's get really specific about that acceleration step we talked about, getting your new content indexed by Google. With a manual process, you could be waiting for days, sometimes even weeks. With this automated system, that time is cut down to mere minutes. But all this speed and efficiency, it isn't just for show. It all feeds into the most important part of the entire system, the ultimate output, a perpetual growth loop.
And here is the proof. The system gives you a 100% accurate report of keyword movement, closing the loop on its own performance. You can see right here, clear as day, how a keyword that was identified at position 18 climbed all the way to position 7. This isn't guesswork. It's tangible data that feeds directly into a client's growth dashboard.
And that really is what it all comes down to. This entire system, this really elegant architecture, is designed for 2 things: automated authority and perpetual growth.
So if you're interested in how you could implement a high-performance content architecture like this for yourself, you can learn a lot more by visiting Business Goto at businessgoto.ca.